Happy Wednesday.
We will wait just a little bit to get some people on here.
There's a few joining us.
All right.
If you're joining us today, make sure you tell us hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from.
How many people have snow?
We do.
We do. I know a lot of people out west do. Lots of roads were closed.
Pamela's
Hi,
with
Pamela.
us. 60
degrees.
I'm very jealous.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
No snow for Pamela.
No.
No snow in Tennessee.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Rachel. Snow has melted, but more coming. That is what we're getting. We have more coming tomorrow, I think.
We feel your pain, Rachel.
Our snow hasn't melted, though, yet.
Yeah. Too cold.
What's the temperature in Kansas? Where you're at?
20s, I think,
20s,
today.
yeah.
Ooh.
It's supposed to drop over the weekend and get pretty cold.
I think today will be the warmest day that we have.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the day it's going to be. It's still cold, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's going to be cold. Hi, Natalie. Intra.
No snow.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we started carrying a new line, Cavalor, and we have Dr. Caroline Loos with us, and she is the equine nutritionist and head of research at Cavalor. And she's going to talk about how to optimize your horse's health and overall performance with their supplements.
Be sure that you ask questions, put those in the comments if you have them. Caroline's here to answer all those for you today. And one lucky viewer is going to win a $150 Cavalor shopping spree to Valley Vet Supply. So you won't want to miss that. And with that, Caroline, we're going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me over here today, this afternoon, and to talk a little bit about who we are as a brand. We're still, I guess, relatively new in some areas. When we go to events and stuff like that, there's still people that haven't heard. So we're fairly small brand, but we're growing slowly. However, even though we're still pretty small in the US, we have been around since 1989. So we have since then kind of become a world leader a little bit, and we are sold in 60 different countries. The company originally was founded in Belgium, and that's also where our mother company is. However, we have been in the United States for, I want to say now, 15, 20 years or so. We also produce all the feeds here that we distribute on the US market as well. I also want to say that we are the official FEI nutritional partner. So we do work a lot, very closely with the FEI, making sure our products are safe and doping free as well. So if you haven't heard of the brand, we do carry a comprehensive line of both the supplements that we're going to talk about today, but we also carry feeds, and we also carry care products. So anything from skin, mane, hooves, things like that as well. So that makes that we can really offer sort of holistic solutions for your horse, maintaining either anything from your pasture pet or your retired horse to your Olympic rider. So we have some solutions for everyone and every horse. So next to our products, we also are a company that heavily invests in research, which is very nice. And I think a lot of people look for that more and more, in particular also in their supplements. that, they want to make sure that the products have been researched, that there's evidence. So we heavily invest in research. We collaborate with different universities around the world, both in Europe as well as in the US. So I was at the University of Kentucky, actually. That's where I got my education. And so I did a lot of research there for Cavalor during my grad school and postdoc career. So we are making sure that the products do what we say they will do on the market, to make sure that you get the results that you're hoping for. We also provide different services. We have online ration calculator tools. We have a really nice consumer line as well. We organize conferences around the world as well. So we do invest also and provide a lot of knowledge and education. That's a big part of who we are. So we're not just selling products. We really want to educate people. I think that's very important as well. So I guess today we're going to mostly focus, obviously, on the supplements that you guys carry. And I guess I want to highlight a few different points on our supplements that makes them sort of unique. And if you're not familiar with the Cavalor supplements, you might see, if you look at the website, that we don't really sell single ingredients. And that makes us quite unique from a lot of different other brands. So because we believe in the power of synergy, okay, to make a real difference in your horse's health. Because if you think about it, if you look at different nutrients, all the nutrients in the body, they work together, right? So different nutrients influence each other, different minerals, different vitamins. And so that can really be positive, but it can also be negative, right? So different nutrients can reinforce each other to have even better health effects, but they can also negatively influence each other. And that is something we have to be aware of, right? So if you're going to feed an excessive amount of a single nutrient, you kind of risk throwing the whole kind of diet out of balance. Okay, so if you're, for example, feeding a large amount of zinc, that can result in decreased copper intake and vice versa. So you have to keep these things in mind. And we at Cavalor want to avoid that we cause imbalances. So we want the products that you add to your diet, to your forage, whatever it may be, to be complementary, right? We want that product to be balanced so that you kind of get a 1 + 1 = 3 sort of situation. We want those products to be complementary to your foundational diet that you provide to your horses. So that's very different from, I think, a lot of other brands that all of our products are combinations of different ingredients which we select to have a greater effect together than each of the individual ingredients by themselves, if that kind of makes sense. So that is very unique about our supplements, I think, and making them kind of different than many other supplements on the market. So I wanted to throw that out there, and I don't know if there's been any questions. If not, I can kind of continue to go over some of the products that we see that you guys carry. And maybe one more thing I did want to emphasize, whenever I talk about supplements, I also want to make people aware that we kind of get carried away in the world of supplements, right? There's so many different options. I get overwhelmed. I have a horse. I'm an endurance rider. I get tremendously overwhelmed when I start looking up supplements. So, but a lot of times we also kind of focus in on, we should get this supplement and this supplement, this supplement. But in addition to that, I want to point out that it is important that you also focus on the foundation of your diet first. Okay. And so what I mean by that is that before you start adding supplements to the diet, make sure that your base ration, your base diet, that being consisting of forage as well as a feed or a sort of a balancer product or whatever it is that you're giving, that you're meeting all your nutrient requirements of your horse. Okay. Because that's what we kind of called foundational nutrition. Okay, because you need those elements, those nutrients like vitamins, minerals, energy, protein, you need those to be present in the body in order for any additional supplementary ingredients, like the ingredients coming from supplements, which we call functional ingredients. So these are ingredients that are maybe not critical for survival, but they can provide benefit to your horse's health and performance, right? So in order for those ingredients to actually work and work well, you need to have the basics present. You need to have your minerals, you need to have your vitamins, because a lot of the function of these ingredients For example, if you say you're adding a joint supplement to your horse's ration, okay, you find ingredients like glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, those type of ingredients. Well, they depend on enzymes that depend on zinc, manganese, copper. So if your diet is deficient, your base diet is deficient in those minerals, your supplements won't have the best effect that you want them to have. I hope that kind of makes sense what I'm trying to say here. So before we add a lot of supplements, I always advise people think about your foundation. Make sure that foundation is good, that you're meeting all the requirements, okay? And then you can start kind of adding functional ingredients that may give your horse an extra edge, okay? So never compromise the supplements for a good foundation. That's kind of, I guess, where I wanted to point out, where I always try to educate people on that, because I do see a lot when I go in the feed room, go in a barn and say, okay, show me your feeding program, and they have picked out a great forage, a great feed, but then they feed maybe like a cup twice a day, even though the feeding recommendations may say, okay, you need to feed 6 pounds a day in order to meet all the requirements. So now your horse may potentially be at risk for deficiencies in vitamins and minerals. And these horses may be getting different types of supplements, but the owner is not really seeing an effect of the supplement. Well, that may simply be due to the fact that your foundation is lacking somewhere, okay? So I do want to point that out. Once you start, supplements are very useful to provide extra health benefits and sort of give an extra edge and maximize the genetic potential of your horse. But for sure, also think about the basics, the foundation, and making sure you're meeting requirements of your horse before you start adding supplements to the diet. So I guess, we talked a little bit today about talking about, okay, we're in the winter season. We talked about snow when we just started this conversation. So, but it is something to start thinking about. Okay, the competition season will be starting again, or people that move south in the winter, they might already still be competing in the south with their horses. So I guess we wanted to highlight some of the different products that we have that may potentially help your horse in preparing for that competition season and providing some extra support on different systems in the body, right? This can be anything from joints, the digestive system, hooves, but also we'll also focus on 3 different products today that are related to behavior, because we all know the horses in winter have a tendency to be frisky and crazy. So so that can definitely also help there. So maybe we'll tackle those few things first. So a couple of the products that we have with Valivet is called, the first one I guess I'll highlight is called a product called Sozin. And I know you guys have the bucket there if you wanted to kind of show people. There we go. So this is a powdered supplement, so it falls into our calming line. And the nice thing about the supplements is that they have kind of a nice label on it where it says, okay, this is this category. So it's pretty easy to kind of find, okay, what the product's main purpose is. Yeah, exactly. So that works there. And so this product has been formulated to really kind of help horses that are generally hot and nervous horses. And so the product itself, it's a powder, and it's a blend of different herbs as well as tryptophan and magnesium. So a lot of times, for people that are familiar with calming products, they will typically contain your magnesium and tryptophan, which are known to work on your neurotransmitter system and your nervous system. But what makes Sozin different from a lot of other calming products on the market is that we work with a lot of herbs. And actually, Cavalor in general, we try to really work with the kind of the power and healing power of nature. So we try to work a lot with herbs, extracts, essential oils, and things like that. So a lot of times we will try Sozin for hot horses, nervous horses, horses that are very anxious. And perhaps people may have tried different calming supplements that are on the market that haven't really had great success. And considering this product works sort of on a different way with the herbs that are in there, we see oftentimes good success with this product if the horses don't respond to a typical tryptophan magnesium type product. So if you have a horse that's chronically stressed or just can't focus on its job, right? So a lot of times when we take them out of their comfort zone or go to competition, they'll just get distracted and, they get all nervous and anxious. And so they can't focus on the job anymore. So that's a product that we oftentimes recommend for those type of horses to just kind of bring their focus back down to what they need to be doing without getting too distracted by everything that's in the surrounding area. So this product, we typically recommend to do a loading dose, which is a little bit higher than the daily dose that you'll be giving to them. And then you can give it on a daily basis if you have a horse that's kind of chronically stressed all the time and you feel like it could use a product to just sort of take the edge off a little bit and get more focused during training. That works for those type of horses. Or you can give it just around the competition season if your horse is generally okay at home, but maybe it's more stressed when you take it out of its safe environment. Then you can also feed it like 3 days leading up to the competition and during that maybe the competition itself. So that's kind of how this product works. And I don't know if there's any questions related to this particular product.
Nope.
And otherwise, I can kind of highlight the second one.
Natalie asks, what kind of herbs are in there?
Good question. And some of it, I will say, is proprietary, so we can't give away all the secrets. But so there's different types of herbs in there. We have, let me just pull it up real quick on what we have in here. So we have ingredients like ginseng in there, Humulus lupulus, and these are often also the scientific names. We have Ruta graveolens in there, and also you can find these ingredients also on our website and to maybe take a closer look at those. So there are a lot of different ingredients and different herbs that are in there as well. Some of the other ones are Solidago viguria, and some of these names are really hard to pronounce in scientific words. We'll say that. However, so I would recommend maybe also go to the website to get a list of all the different herbs that are in this particular product.
All the product labels are on the Valley Vet website under the products as well. So
perfect.
Pamela asked, is this given by weight of the horse?
We typically recommend a dose of about 20 grams for most horses per day. So it's not on a body weight basis necessarily. Our weights and our doses are kind of determined based on your standard weight horse, like 1,000 to 1,100 pound horse. And the big thing also, I think, especially when it comes to calming products, is that we provide general recommendation, but we have seen in practice that it really depends on from horse to horse, not even weight related, but just different horses react differently to the products. So I recommend that you start with the recommendations that we provide on the label. And then if you don't see enough effect, you can play around a little bit with the dose as it's needed, or the frequency of the dose. Because some people see really good effects, for example, with only, and I'll refer to another product that I'll talk about in a little bit to take it easy, Forte, which is a paste. So some people just use like a half a dose right before the competition and see great effects, and other people do like the evening before, the morning of, and then an hour before the competition. So we provide general recommendations for the average sized horse. And then you can kind of play around with it a little bit there as well. Now, if you have a mini horse, for example, then I would probably recommend that you at least like half the dose if you're working with really a seriously kind of a deviation from your average standard size horse. I hope that kind of answered the question.
Okay.
Okay, so then the next product we have is the Take It Easy Forte. And so that comes in a very nice paste form, as you can see here on in the screen. And I love these kind of paste to take to competitions because they're very easy to administer. You can quickly just, take them in your pocket or whatever it is to take along. It's easier than, getting your big bucket of powder with you. So the nice part about the pastes as well is that they come with a very nice dosing syringe, so you can adjust the dose really easily. And because it's in a paste form, you also make sure that the horse will actually get everything that you want them to get. Because with some other supplements, you might have the risk, like a powder or pellet, that they sort through the feed, they don't consume everything, especially if they're stressed out on competition. Some horses will not eat very well. So even though you might add a powder to your feed, if you know your horse is not going to eat well during competition season, that's probably where you might risk that they're not getting all the product that you want them to get. So that makes these pastes really kind of nice to take to competitions or on the road anywhere you're going. So this particular product is a combination of tryptophan and magnesium, which are kind of your standard ingredients that we know work on the nervous system to promote kind of relaxation. But also, this particular paste contains a blend of different essential oils that also are known to kind of work on your the different systems of stress and works kind of to soothe the entire body, the body and the mind actually there. Because we actually have two types. So if you're looking on Vet Valley, we have the Take It Easy Forte. It does come in another type as well, which is the regular Take It Easy. The difference between the two products, if anyone was wondering, is that the Forte also has the essential oils in it. So that provides kind of a different level of where you kind of tackle those causes and consequences of stress. So this paste is very easy if you need sort of a quick, your horse is your horse is going to be very anxious, very stressful during maybe a time of competition or like a big training event or something, and you kind of want to quickly kind of take the edge off again to make sure that they can focus on the job. We also recommend it for, say, right now during winter when we know our horses tend to just be crazy when we pull them out of the stall because it's cold outside and they're it's hot and they can't go out as much and stuff like that. So you can also use it for that. So bringing your horses back after winter to make sure that they don't injure themselves or injure you, you can give it to them as well to kind of make sure they're calm for their first ride out, for the lunging session, whatever it may be, just to make sure that you avoid any injuries to horse or rider. So that's a really nice type of kind of easy to go to administer type of paste for these kinds of situations.
Marcy had a question. Can you use Take It Easy Forte along the side of Sozin?
Yes. So all of our products are very complementary. So a lot of times what people will do is actually they might find it more cost effective to use maybe a powdered one of our powdered calming supplements at home for a daily kind of provision of your nutrients that will help or ingredients that will help with calming the system. And then when they go to the competition season or when they go to competition, then you can then at that time provide the Take It Easy Forte pastes for kind of like that extra level of stress support, because once you take them out, that level of stress just kind of doubles, right? So you want to have kind of that extra layer of protection and just kind of support for that horse to compete well and perform well during the time that you need them to. So yes, they can easily be complementary used.
Diana had asked, are these safe for young horses? I have a 2-year-old at the clinic, and I'm wondering if we bring him back, if this would help keep him calm.
Yes, they're absolutely safe for young horses as well. So definitely that would actually be a very nice thing for horses, like Diane was saying, like maybe horses that are in rehab, right? Or coming out of rehab, going back into work after stall rest. So those are definitely ideal situations where this would come in very handy to just kind of, for their own safety, really, make sure that they're not going to go crazy or injure themselves or re-injure themselves. So yes, it's definitely, safe to use in the 2-year-old horse as well.
And that's all the questions we have so far.
Sweet. I guess I think I kind of already said with this paste, as far as dosing goes, the typical recommendation is maybe a third of a tube. So you saw on the picture that you can kind of dial that tube, the little dial that's on there. So you do like maybe a third on the evening before, a
Nope.
third on the morning of, and then a third an hour before competition. Usually we see kind of that window of peak effectiveness about an hour, 2 hours. So you want to make sure that if you compete at like 1 o'clock, you go into the barn and give it to your horse maybe at noon or a little bit before noon, right? So you want to make sure that it's effective at the time of need. So that's maybe one thing to keep in mind, that you want to make sure to give it on time, so that it is actually doing its job at the time that you need it to. I have heard other people using it just an hour before, so they don't necessarily do the night before, and that works too. I have recently used it on one of my friend's horses. Actually, I love telling a little bit of anecdotes because I'm an endurance rider, as I said. So she has an Arabian horse that she hasn't been able to compete because he's just so crazy at rides. He just wants to run and be in front and beat everyone else. And she's been very frustrated for a long time. And I said, okay, let's try this, take it easy, because this will be the ultimate case study, for myself too. And so we gave it to him the other day at a ride, and she could not believe the effect on this horse. Like, he was focused, and it's not putting them to sleep, right? So that's not what it does. It's just, taking the edge off and making them listen to what you're asking them to do, instead of fighting you the whole time because they're so stressed. And so I can't wait to actually take it to competition for him, because I hope then that'll help my friend actually finally be able to compete him, because he's very talented, just his brain is a little as Arabians tend to be. So the last in our calming line that we wanted to highlight was Venus. And I don't know if you have the product there as well. So that it's a liquid form. And so this product, as the name may suggest, was initially kind of formulated and developed for supporting the moody mare. Right, so we all know the mares that that are very sensitive to their cycle, to their estrus cycle, that becomes sort of unmanageable during periods of heat. And that get very stubborn, very irritable, just being in a bad mood. So I'm sure we can all relate. And so these products, so that was originally the kind of formulation of this or kind of development of this product, where we wanted to offer owners a natural way to help their mares kind of get through this period without, your kind of more chemical ways, like, for example, like Regimate, right? It's not really good for the people or at least for women to handle that. So we wanted to have sort of a more natural way of kind of mood stabilizing so these mares without affecting the cycle. So this product is not going to affect the natural cycle. So your mare will be cycling naturally. However, it will kind of stabilize the mood. A lot of these type of horses are also very kind of sensitive and stiff, so they carry a lot of tension during those periods of time that they're in heat or during estrus. So a lot of horses that have very sensitive, stiff backs and things like that carry a lot of tension. So we see very good results with that type of product as well. It is also completely safe. It is 100% natural, so it's a blend of herbal extracts that really kind of supports the reproductive hormones and brings everything back in balance. It kind of works on the nervous system as well, and kind of causes some relaxation of the body and the mind. So that was kind of always the main focus of the product. It is, however, also randomly, anecdotally, we started using it in male horses, so both in geldings as in stallions, and we actually see quite a bit of good results with those as well. So while it was developed for mares, you can also use it in your gelding. And typically when I recommend this product for geldings, which those are the type of geldings that are these very sensitive geldings, very sensitive horses. They internalize a lot, so they don't necessarily may have clinical issues, like they don't have ulcers or anything like that, but they're just not performing well. They may seem kind of depressed or something, or you have these very sensitive horses. And so this product actually has really worked nicely for geldings as well, in kind of just stabilizing their mood and making them a little bit more happier and willing to work. So I don't know if there's any questions related to this one.
Wait, Christy had a question, and it was about the
Okay.
Forte. How often can you give the paste?
So it might depend a little bit. So you can use it. I mean, there's nothing against using it every day, but it might be cost prohibitive if you want to do that. You can use it during, say, for example, if you're going a whole weekend or something, you can use it during that whole period of time, like 3-4 days. That's totally fine. And that's typically what we see people do. If you wanted to give it, if you're starting a young horse, for example, or something, and you want to give it during those first few weeks or months every time prior to exercise, it's safe to do so. So you're not going to overdose. You might, if you use it regularly, I would recommend to do like a third of a tube each of the times, but it is safe to use it frequently. But, depending a little bit on how you want to look at that cost-wise. But typically we see people for a shorter period of time, but it is safe if you wanted to use it in smaller amounts, like on a more regular basis.
Virginia had asked, will it test? And I assume she means for competition purposes.
This was which product? The Venus or?
I'm not sure. I think maybe the paste is when it was asked.
Okay.
But I'm not.
Well, in general, I can actually answer the question for all the products, right? So, okay. So, like I said in the beginning, so we are FEI safe. Okay. Now, I know that each of the organizations here in the US, frustratingly, has a little bit of a different list, right? So it is always good, because since I don't know everyone's discipline, to check against the list for specific ingredients. But if you're looking at, in particular, the products that we talked about right now, Take It Easy Forte, I believe, is also USCF safe, but I can look at that and get back to you on that. But I do want to point out that most of that list is very similar to FEI, and we, over the 20-30 years, have never had any issues. So we check very rigorously the FEI list, and I would say probably 99% of that overlaps with most of the other prohibitive substances list on different organizations, but they do differ a little bit. I know that. So we are definitely FEI safe, but it is always good to just check with your whatever organization it is that you ride with.
All right, Christy had a question. She said, what would be recommended for a gelding that has all over body soreness, but no apparent reason why? The horse has been to the vet, the chiropractor, etc.
Very interesting. Yes, that sounds kind of like me. I have issues all over and no one can figure out what it is with my back. So I guess the first thing I would point out, and I don't know if she caught like the initial part of this conversation, was also to think about, are you covering all your basics, right? So when I think about muscle soreness, or whole body soreness is probably mostly related to muscle, I do want to say that you have to make sure that you're meeting your vitamin requirements, especially vitamin E. Also, your trace minerals are going to be very important on muscle function. So that's kind of the first thing I would look at to make sure, is your foundation good? Is your horse getting all the nutrients that it needs for basic muscle function, right? And then making sure also that his gut is healthy, because if the gut's not healthy, he's not going to absorb all the nutrients well. And so even though you might be feeding all the products for muscle support, he may just not simply be able to absorb that. So those are kind of things I always tackle first, making sure it has a healthy gut, focus on getting that straightened out, focusing on the diet, making sure you're meeting requirements. And then if that horse just genetically has a tendency to have more muscle problems, depending also sometimes on the breed, a muscle supportive supplement can help just to provide, like I said, those extra functional ingredients that may just help those muscles out a little bit further than just your basic kind of nutritional needs. With regards to the products that we just talked about, I have heard, like I said, what I was just talking about, the Venus product, I have heard that horses from the field experiences of our sales reps and the people that are actually seeing the horses in the field, that horses that naturally carry a lot of tension all the time sometimes seem to be doing really well in relaxing with the Venus product, because it's hard to pinpoint where that soreness is coming from. Is it from because he's tight, because he's so sensitive and kind of stressed, or is it more a genetic issue that might be resulting in muscle soreness? So it's hard to pinpoint, but I would say, look at your diet, make sure you're feeding everything correctly, vitamin E, very important, and trace minerals, and then you can potentially try this product that we just discussed, the Venus, to see if he can just relax, right? Maybe it's in his mind, and so that might just help him just relax and not be so sore all the time.
Okay. Lori asked a question. She's going to make us jump to another product here.
Yeah.
She said,
we can do that.
How long will the Hoof Aid Special, which is 11 pounds, last for one adult horse?
Ooh, that is a very mathematical question. I would have to do really quick math. I just know that you feed about 100 grams per day. So then we just have to do the math, right? So 100 and 150, depending on the size of your horse. I do want to point out, since we're talking about this product, being committed to a hoof supplement is very important to see the final difference, because hoofs grow so slowly. So, about maybe a centimeter every month or so. So it's very important that when you want to try a hoof supplement, that you commit to it, right? Because the worst thing is switching off and on and off and on and off and on to different products. That's when you get really poor hoof growth. So I would recommend be patient with the hoof supplement, because it will take probably 3 months before you see results of it. But you will. Hoof Aid Special, I think, is what she talked about. So this product is, I've seen pictures of horses whose feet basically were cracked, with the crack in the front where it splits open like that, or very brittle, with amazing regrowth of problematic feet that I've seen from case studies in the field. So I have a lot of good things and good successes to say about this product, but I do want to say be patient with this product, because it'll take a little bit of time to see good results. Yeah.
All right. Rachel had a question. She asked, what is suggested for gut health? She said base feed has been determined by a nutritionist for specific horse, so feel that base is covered.
Okay, so she knows that her diet is good. For gut health, I always make sure, so you can meet nutritional requirements in a lot of different ways, right? So you can have a sport feed, or you can have like a balancer. So for gut health, I always make sure that obviously have a good amount of fiber in your diet. A good diversity of fiber in your diet is really important. And then maybe a prebiotic, probiotic supplement to support those type of horses. I tried, so problematic horses that seem to have chronic problems, I always try to tackle the gut first. If that doesn't solve the situation, because I would say 99% of health problems is gut related, or partially gut related, then I look for more specific kind of additional products that may potentially help whatever system it is that we're having a problem with. So with gut health, look for fiber-rich products to add to your diet. I don't know if it's a sport horse or not. And then maybe a prebiotic, probiotic type of supplement. I hope that answered her question a little bit.
That is the question so far. What have we talked about?
Well, since we're talking about probiotics, we can talk a little bit very quickly on emergency 911 maybe. That's also a paste. So this one is kind of my go-to since I do, like I said, I do endurance. So I carry this thing with me and I give it at every vet check. So this paste has been developed to help horses or help provide rapid relief of any sort of digestive issues. Okay, so if you have a horse with, say, mild colic symptoms, things like that, just kind of cramping, this would be the ideal product to give 1 or 2 tubes immediately in the mouth. Doesn't replace a veterinarian by any means, so call your vet, but can help to make that horse just feel better while you wait for the vet. Or if it's super mild, it might offer relief and actually get that horse to be feeling better again. Now, secondly to that, it can be used preventatively to help digestive upset when it's related to, say, stressful events. So that's, I think, how 99% of this product is used, is preventatively when you know that horses go into a stressful situation, whether that's transport, whether that's going to a new location, whether that's going to competitions and a new barn, new environment. Horses are extremely sensitive to stress, and that will immediately go to, kind of be reflected on gut health, can very easily get gastric and hindgut upset. So a lot of people use this preventatively. So I use it right before I put my horse on the trailer, when they get to the competition grounds, morning and evening, and I, again, definitely feed it also before I go and do my ride. So, and this product has been really, really helpful in just keeping that horse's GI tract happy, keeping it relaxed, preventing any cramping, so the horses can just perform well.
Okay. I think the only product we have not talked about is the Gastroid, maybe.
And then RD Matrix also, I think.
Yeah, RD Matrix.
Yes. Yeah. Gastroid, I guess it falls in line with what we kind of covered here on gut health, because I think probably everyone here may have had or have heard of a horse with ulcers, because it's a big thing, right? It's probably more common than we think it is in most performance horses. So this particular product comes in the powdered form, which you just showed. It actually also comes in a paste form to competition season. To competitions or anything. So what this product does, again, it's natural. So it's an herbal blend that's going to actually naturally sort of neutralize that gastric acid. So it's not going to inhibit acid production like your medicine, like omeprazole does, but it's going to naturally buffer it. Okay, so it's going to work on different levels. So it's going to promote saliva production, and we know saliva is a natural buffer for the stomach. It also has ingredients that are going to protect and promote healing of the tissues in the stomach if you do have some irritation or an ulcer. And so it's going to provide sort of kind of a protection at different levels. So it can be given daily, this product, if you have a horse that's very sensitive to ulcers. And a lot of times we also recommend it if your horse did get treated for ulcers with omeprazole, to start this product once they come off the omeprazole. Okay, because what omeprazole does, it's great for healing ulcers, but it kind of blocks the acid production, right? And so when you take that inhibitory factor away, what we see a lot, and it's been scientifically researched, is a surge in that acid production, okay, during those first few days when you stop the omeprazole. So we oftentimes recommend the Gastro 8 to start prior to taking the horse off the omeprazole, okay? So you can have a buffer in place that can help protect the horse during that transition period and avoid that it's going to have reoccurrence in ulcers, right? Because we see that happens a lot with the omeprazole. So works really nicely in conjunction with that, or you can give it preventatively to sensitive horses on a daily basis just to give kind of a baseline protection without inhibiting the acid, because the acid is very important for digestion. So you don't want to block that for long periods of time. So kind of more natural support of the stomach health. And I guess also on that one, let me just one more
Okay.
thing on
Sorry.
how I typically, no, it's all good. I like to talk about ulcers and things like that. It's kind of my favorite topic. But so with this product, as I said, you can feed it on a daily basis, right? But I also try to educate people a lot on the strategies on how you apply your buffering supplements, okay? Because those buffering supplements, they last 30, 60 minutes, most of the products that are out there, okay? So you want to give them at a time where you want that buffering to be in place. If you give it in the morning with feed and you ride in the afternoon or whatever you do, that buffer is going to be long gone, okay? So the timing of feeding and timing of when you provide those buffering supplements is going to be a crucial element to helping protect your horse from ulcers or combating any existing ulcers, okay? So I always advise people to feed any kind of buffering supplements before exercise, and I'm talking 30 minutes to an hour before exercise, so that buffer is active and doing its job when you get on the horse and when the stomach moves around, that acid starts splashing around. Same thing for transport, about 30 minutes to an hour for transport, and then the same thing for stressful events. So think about when you apply those products. Don't just give them to them randomly during the day, but time it. So then you'll have much better effects on the supplement that you're using.
Diana had asked, is Gastro Aid similar to Fiber Force Gastro, but in supplement form?
So it's similar in the sense that we have some herbs and things that are present in the Gastro 8 supplement that are kind of providing some similar effects. But the Gastro Fiber Force Gastro, so that's the feed that we have on the market as well, also contains that specialized calcium product, so that seaweed-derived calcium that you also find or maybe are familiar with some other products on the market. So it also contains that as well. Now, the Gastro 8 powder also has a calcium product in it, but it's a little bit different, but I guess kind of provides similar benefits, but it is a little bit similar from the Fiber Force Gastro. So it contains some of the similar herbs, and then it also contains, let me just look it up, I think it also contains, I believe, probiotics like a live yeast as well in the powder form. So you get a little bit of similar protection with both products. Obviously with the feed, you also get all the fiber benefits of that, right? So the long stem fiber that you can then kind of have that fiber mat in the stomach. So what people sometimes do too is actually, we also have another product called Fiber Force, and then combine it with the Gastro 8 powder, so you get a sort of a similar protective effect. So it's similar, but there are some small differences in some of the ingredients simply because it's a supplement versus a feed and what we can apply to both of the products.
Okay. That's all the questions for now.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I guess we have only one left here.
That's it.
Yeah. So we're switching gears entirely. We're doing the joint health. So, Artie Matrix is kind of our comprehensive formula for joint health, right? And so I know the market is very saturated with joint products. So I want to talk a little bit about why we're different. So again, I mentioned in the beginning, we heavily invest in research, right? And so this product, along with some of our other products that we have for joints, has undergone a 7-year research program before we put it out in the market. Okay, so we started out by selecting the single ingredients that looked at their ability to reduce joint damage and joint inflammation. Then once we characterized those ingredients, then the next step was to test different combinations, because as I mentioned in the beginning, our products are always combinations of different ingredients that are stronger together than separately. So we started testing different combinations of different ingredients and again looked at their anti-inflammatory potential. And then when we found the strongest combination, we tested them in real inflammation models at university level and picked the strongest combination from which then the Artie Matrix was born. So we actually have a tremendous amount of data that it actually reduces different inflammatory markers in different types of joint models, which is really, really nice. So the RD matrix contains probably most of the ingredients that you see on the market as far as the building blocks that can help with cartilage and tendons and joint capsules and synovial fluids. So you have, your collagen, your MSM, your chondroitin, your glucosamine, things like that. We also add antioxidants, right? Because it's very important that you have those ingredients that can scavenge sort of your free radicals that are released during exercise. So those can be very damaging to joints and things like that. So we have some antioxidants in there as well. We also provide the chelated trace minerals in there. So highly available trace minerals. So your zinc, copper, manganese. Remember what I said way in the beginning of this talk, that those are critical to make the other ingredients work well and have the results that you want them to do so they can be absorbed in the joint. And then we have different herbs as well in the product that have a very potent anti-inflammatory ability that we identified through the research. So it's a very comprehensive product on the market that really will ensure kind of longevity of your horse's joint, which we know is always a struggle, right? To keep those horses going for a long period of time without lameness. So we have really nice stories from the field, from field experiences from people that have used the product and been significantly be able to reduce injections, for example, in their horse. So yeah, very, very nice product when it comes to finding something to support your horse's joints and tendons. So I don't know if there was any specific questions on this last product, or if we kind of covered our bases.
Not yet.
Marcy asked, should you give it all year round?
Missed that one.
Yeah. So you can for sure give it long term if that's something you want to do. We at Cavalor also, a little bit of our philosophy is that it's always good to give your horses a break from a supplement, okay? Because one, you risk getting a buildup in a system, or you can have systems get habituated. Okay, so different cells and tissues can get insensitive to certain ingredients. So in order for the best effects, and also to give the liver a little bit of a break now and then from processing all these, our philosophy with Cavalor is to give your horse a break from the supplements, unless they are supplements that are vital to health and survival, or medication, things like that. Is always good to give them a break when you can. For example, in the off season, when they're not competing and they're just chilling, going through winter or an off-season period, to give them a little bit of a break. And then once you get working back and getting back in the competition season, to put them back on. So that's always very good for the system and GI system and all the organs to get a little bit of a break from a supplement for a couple weeks or so. Yeah.
All right.
Any more questions? Wow, we've almost talked an hour, I think. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. I get really excited about nutrition.
There were a lot of really great questions.
Yeah, there was. Thanks to everyone. Yeah. And I guess I want to point out that we have, obviously you're a good resource if you have questions. We do have a lot of different people in the field that can answer your questions as well. So don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have on any of the products if, later time they come up as well.
All right. I think it's time to draw a winner, maybe.
We're going to draw a winner.
All right.
Exciting.
Okay, one lucky viewer is going to win a $150 shopping spree of Cavalor products to Valley Vet Supply. Melanie.
All right. So today's winner is Christy Coker.
Woohoo!
Congratulations. Nice.
Right. All right. Dr. Loos, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you being on here and answering all the questions. And thank you to all the viewers for joining us today.
Yes.
We have just a few announcements before we let you all go.
We have our dry shod boot bonanza going on now. So if you have not signed up, make sure you get signed up for that. It ends the end of the month. So we're giving away, there's 4 chances of winning, 2 women's boots, 2 men's. So get in.
Okay. And join us live Wednesday, January 24th. We are going to be live with Dry Shod. So any questions you have,
They'll talk all about it.
there's your chance. So until then, we will see you all later. Thank you for joining.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.